In this video, I'll be going over the archives, Nurse Rework, and balance changes coming soon to Dead by Daylight. Let's start with the archives. This is without a doubt one of the most exciting features being added to the game. It's a progression system that will allow players to complete challenges and earn blood points, cosmetics, and rift fragments, a new currency that enables players to unlock higher rift tiers and more rewards. Players will start by selecting a challenge from the rift web. Survivor, killer, and neutral team challenges can all be found on the web. Only one challenge can be active at a time, so players will need to return to the archives after completing a challenge to claim the reward and advance further into the rift web. Players will also have the option of purchasing a rift pass using auric cells, which will allow them to unlock even more rewards. As for my thoughts about the archives, I think it's a great way to get players more invested in the game. Discovering lore about their favorite characters and earning cosmetics and blood points should keep them feeling like they're always progressing towards something. And for players who don't have as much time to sink into the game, they can purchase a rift pass to earn the collectibles they want. Next is the Nurse Rework. Both her power and add-ons have been modified, but let's go over her add-ons first. Rather than simply modifying some numbers, many of Nurse's new add-ons grant her power additional effects or functionality. For example, the Metal Spoon add-on makes Survivor's Grunts of Pain louder, which can essentially replace the perk Strider and allow the Nurse to have more flexibility in her perk build. Bad Man's Last Breath grants Nurse the undetectable status for a short time after landing a blink attack, which makes it easier to surprise survivors and ignore pesky perks like Borrowed Time. However, the add-on I'm most excited about is the Plaid Flannel. This has been reduced to a common rarity add-on, which means players can use it in practically every game. For experienced Nurse players, they'll probably glance over this add-on, but I think a lot of players, myself included, will find the blink indicator incredibly helpful for landing precise blinks, or for just not teleporting into walls. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the direction her add-ons have been taken. They add a variety of new effects to her power that make it more interesting. I'm also quite happy about the additional Chain Blink add-ons being scrapped. Now let's go over the Nurse's power rework. So rather than being able to blink immediately after fatigue ends, the Nurse's power now comes with 2 charges that will prevent her from blinking once they run out. Each blink consumes 1 charge that replenishes after 3 seconds. So after using 2 blinks, the Nurse will have to wait 6 seconds before she can use both again. However, it'll feel more like 3.5 seconds since her power begins recharging the moment she enters fatigue. Now I know this is a hot topic for many players regarding whether the nerf to her power was justified or not, but let me share my thoughts on the matter. Nurse's power allows her to completely ignore virtually every game mechanic that allows survivors to evade the rest of the killers. The only things survivors can do to evade her during a chase are to juke her blinks, or attempt to lose her during fatigue. However, this is rather difficult if the Nurse manages to land a hit, since blood, scratch marks, and grunts of pain make survivors easy to track. What makes it even more difficult, however, is how quickly the current version of Nurse can blink again after fatigue ends. Injured survivors have very little time to make enough distance or find cover to have a fair chance at escaping. The new iteration of Nurse, however, grants survivors a small window of time between her blinks, which gives them a chance to use their only defense against her, which is breaking line of sight. Additionally, this change should help separate skilled nurses from bad nurses, by punishing them with a longer wait time if they miss their blinks. This seems like a fair trade-off for using the most powerful ability in the game. While this rework will probably knock Nurse down from double S tier to maybe S tier, her ability to teleport and ignore most of the survivors' defenses will remain one of the scariest killer powers. Next we have some balance changes to medkits. First and most importantly, insta-heal medkits are a thing of the past, as the syringe has been reworked to heal survivors over a period of 8 seconds. However, it no longer reduces medkit charges by 50%, so survivors should be able to heal themselves at least once no matter what medkit they use. The Styptic agent has also been nerfed, and instead of healing the survivor 1 health state, it now applies the Endurance, or Borrowed Time, effect. And the last major change to medkits is that the emergency medkits charges have been reduced from 24 to 16, and it no longer reduces charge consumption. However, it's now the only medkit that grants 50% bonus to self-healing speed, which will allow it to truly live up to its name as an emergency medkit. As for my thoughts, I feel the nerfs to the syringe and styptic agent add-ons were warranted, as they were capable of undoing a lot of the damage the killer did in a fraction of a second. And while the emergency medkit now only has enough charges for one heal, the 50% bonus heal speed feels powerful enough to make up for it. And finally, we have a few changes to some survivor perks. Detective's Hunch received a buff to where it triggers upon any teammate completing a generator rather than just the perk's user, and its reveal duration was doubled from 5 seconds to 10 seconds. I found this buff made the perk much more valuable and helped me find chests, totems, and generators, which saved me a lot of time. I could definitely see players using this perk now. Next is Plunderer's Instinct, which now reveals the auras of dropped items. This buff will help survivors scavenge items from dead teammates and potentially win them the game. And lastly, we have Medal of Man, which can now be activated multiple times during a match. Given how situational protection hits are, I highly doubt this change will make players want to use it. There needs to be an easier requirement for players to meet before they'll want to bring this perk into their games. Maybe grant a token to the survivor every time they escape a chase that lasts 15 seconds or longer. But that's about it for the changes coming soon to Dead by Daylight. Keep in mind there's also the Halloween event known as the Withering Blight starting on October 22nd. I'm looking forward to all the spooky stuff BHVR has in store for us. And of course, thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe for future content.